Hi everyone, Elsie Jensen here. Today is day 3, I believe. Yep, day 3 of our camping trip. Time is melding together. And we are going to be making bacon sausage and then some kind of camp donuts, which are more like fried donut holes or whatnot. But we're out of eggs, so you have to pivot and do something different. So I'm going to I got to start up my campfire, my camping stove, and get it kind of heating up. This is the last day we're at this campsite. Then we move to another one. This one I think got wet last night. Let me grab my dry one. We had a big rainstorm while we were sleeping last night, so our whole campsite got soaked. Luckily our tent has a nice to keep us dry, but everything else that was left out. Let's see, why aren't you turning on? Do I have the safety switch on? There we go. Just took a minute, guys. Perfect. Got one, and then I'm going to start heating up our other one. Make sure I'm getting it nice and warm. Now let's get this guy going too. We're going to heat up our oil for our little campfire donuts. The wind must be getting it, or it got wet last night. Always the fun with the trials and errors. Why? We'll try that again. Let's get the bacon going at least. It's always a fun. So we've got our bacon pack here, and we are going to get it starting to cook up because bacon takes kind of the longest on it. And then we're going to make our dough using our sourdough discard, some leftover sour cream from last night's dinner. My kids love to put their sour cream on their potatoes. It's like their favorite thing. Turn this down a smidge. Here we go. Yeah. There you go. Let's see, turn that guy off. We're going to break apart the bacon just a bit so it can start to cook up. And then, see if I can start this guy again up. There we go. Of course, it's the wind, and that's what's, I didn't even realize how windy it is, but that makes it harder with the, there we go. And you know what? It's because our camp stove's a little bit wet too. Here we go. Perfect. Sometimes it's hard to see the blue flame, but we've got everything going. Disaster averted. I'm going to put this over a lower heat, and we're going to just start heating up our oil to fry up our donuts, and we want it to get nice and hot so it'll be ready to cook up when we get there.
Where are the kids right now?
They're at the pond. Last night they caught a toad, they saw a snake, there was geese there, so I gave them a fishing net. They wanted to go see if they could catch some more. And then this campsite has little bike go-karts, and I was like, after we eat breakfast, you guys can go up there first, but I don't want to go pay for them because there's not going to be enough time for you to do them right away. So that's one thing that's nice about these. There's so much fun things for them to do. And they're all as soon as they wake up, they're like, I want to go. And I'm like, okay, go take off. I won't keep you here. I won't hold you hostage at the campsite. It's kind of nice because you get this serenity, peace, and calm. And they're having a blast. Okay, let's start making our sourdough discard things. We'll feed up our sourdough today after this, but I kept it in my cooler so it's not, I don't have to feed it as often. But we're going to use 3/4 a cup of our discard. So I'm going to pour in here. There we go. I know, I'm hoping I fed my I fed 2 of my starters before I left, and then I was trying to transfer to put the other one in the fridge. It slipped out of my hand and dropped all over my floor, which made me so sad. So we've got my 3/4 cups of sourdough, discard, and then we're gonna add in a little over a cup of sour cream. I'm just going to squeeze this in here and hopefully get what I need out of it. There we go. So these are kind of a sour cream donut, like a old-fashioned donut, not a yeast donut. I did bring some yeast with me, little packs of it, because one of my favorite things to do over the campfire is make stick bread. When I was living in Germany with my foreign exchange family, we would do these little cookouts there, and it was called Stockbrot. And it was one of my favorite things to do. You wrap it around a stick or a little thing, and you cook it over the fire. It's so good. Okay, we've got our sourdough discard and our sour cream mixed together. Now we are going to add in, let me peek over. We're doing a good job. I'm going to take a little peek over here. You can hear it sizzle up, so I just want to make sure I don't burn it. Perfect. There we go. Now we're going to add in our baking soda and our baking powder. So I need about 3/4 a teaspoon of baking soda. So I'm going to do a half and then a little bit of a half. And then we're going to use baking powder as well. So that's a half. And then we need a little bit of a half. I only bring like a tablespoon, a half a teaspoon, and a teaspoon measuring when I'm camping because you don't need all of the big stuff. We need about 2 1/4 of the baking powder. There we go. And then we need about half a teaspoon, so I'm just going to fill this up halfway, of salt. I'm going to give this a nice mix into our little kind of powder and mix it up. And then we're going to add in some sugar and then our flour. And this is really just kind of the base. And what you'll do is you'll kind of do like a rough little fold of it. But you see how it's getting nice and fluffy because it's reacting with the sour cream and the discard. Now we're going to do about 3 tablespoons of sugar. We're going to be coating them with sugar. Whoops. 1, 2, and 3. And this will just give them a little bit of a sweetness to it, but nothing too crazy because we're going to be coating them after we pull them out of the oil. Right there. I'm going to turn down my oil because I can start to hear it bubble, which is perfect, which means we're at a perfect temperature. So I'm going to turn it down nice and low because you don't want to have it too high when you put it in there. And now we're going to mix in 1 1/2 cups of flour. And this is kind of going to be, you might have to add a little bit more, but you want the dough to be enough to be able to roll it into a ball without it getting too sticky. So let's start with that. I'm going to mix this in here. That sour cream will help make it a thicker one. You see we didn't add any milk or anything like that. It's just the sour cream and the discard. And this is going to give us a much thicker dough to work with. And there we go. So based on, I think I'm going to add just a smidge more because I don't want it to be too wet to work with because you don't want it to get your hands too dirty. So I'm just going to grab a handful and then we're going to just kind of mix it together. There we go. But you don't want to have it so dense that it will be not like super good. I will say, like, if you mix too much flour in it, it gets a little too thick. But this should be just about perfect. My hands will get a little bit messy, but I have my little wet wipes here, which is always a win. Okay. So we're just going to do kind of a small ball like this. We're going to put it in, and we're going to fry it. They don't have to be perfect. We'll coat them in sugar when you come out. I was gonna bring what is it? Cinnamon with me, but I forgot. So we'll just do a regular sugar one, a sugar donut, which is delicious. And grab, pinch more flour, keep it nice and roll it a little bit easier. But these are just a really simple, it's like, kind of like a donut, fry bread, almost like a beignet. It's so good. Once I get these popped in there, we'll flip our bacon. And you don't need a lot of oil. I just use a small pint of oil for this, and it cooks up great. I'm gonna actually have a second batch of these go in. So I'm just gonna roll them into little balls with my remaining one, and they'll cook up nicely. You can see them starting to get nice and golden brown. A pinch of flour to get this guy rolled up. Here we go. So now I'm gonna grab a paper towel to get my hands clean, and then I've got my wet wipe to go off of it. I will say that is the one thing that gets a little bit tricky with camping is you don't have all of your sinks and bells and whistles, and you can't clean as easily. But guess what? You're camping, so you're roughing it. You're supposed to get a little dirty here. Use that to get the most of it off. But look, wipes you up nice and clean in just a second. And these, you can see my donuts right here are starting to get nice and golden brown. On one side, we'll flip them in a little bit. That's why you don't need to have a full bucket of oil for this. Just halfway. You don't need to waste as much, which is what I'm big on. Get my last clean up here. There we go. Now my hands are clean. Get our bacon turning. Beautiful. And then I'm noticing my bacon isn't especially greasy today, so I'm going to add a little bit butter. If you want your bacon to crisp up nice, it has to have enough butter for it, or like grease to sit in. And sometimes you get a bacon cuts that are perfect and they have a lot of fat on them. And then sometimes you get one cuts that are more meaty that don't kind of fry up as nice. If you add just a little bit of butter in there to crisp them up, you're going to get that crispy bacon versus that chewy bacon. Look at that golden brown. Beautiful. I'm just going to flip them over. But aren't these just gorgeous? Now, you could also make them a lot smaller if you wanted to. But for me, I'm just big ones. Everyone can have a really big one. We are not the biggest breakfast eaters. I mean, everybody likes bacon and stuff like that, but they tend to not eat huge breakfasts here, especially since we kind of do lunch on the road when we're camping. So, and they're always into the snacks, whatever snack they can find. Or every time we stop at a gas station, they're like, "Oh, can I go inside and help you, Mom?" So they can raid the snack aisle. Here we go. So this is what when I'm frying up bacon, I typically like to have just a nice coating on the whole bottom of my pan. That way I'm going to get a good fry on it. Otherwise, sometimes you don't get a good fry. Okay, let's kind of clean this area up so that we can get ready to take when we take our donuts out, we'll put them on a plate.
I have a question. How long are you camping?
We will be camping until the 30th. And then we will drive to my sister's lake house. So after this, we're going to Wisconsin, and we're going to kind of hike around the national forest there. And then we are going to go up to Voyageurs National Park, and we'll be there camping for a couple nights. And then we'll go to my sister's lake house in Minnesota. So luckily, that's one thing is when we get to there, I'm like, nice AC bedroom, whatnot. You know, where we're here, we're in Michigan right now, but we've been in Indiana doing the Indiana Dunes National Park, and it's been a little bit of a heat wave. And so their next site, it's supposed to be like 50s and 60s. and I'm so looking forward to that. I like to be a little bit cold when I'm camping versus really hot. Okay, let's get this ready. We're going to sprinkle sugar on them. You don't need to put butter on them when you do it because you're cooking them in grease. You can take this recipe and bake them up, and then you can you brush them with butter before you bake them and then after you bake them. I'm going to slide these around because I think I have enough room to add in some of my other ones, but nice and low because you don't want them to get burned. So I always try to keep my oil around like 350 when I'm frying. Here we go. Got one more to pop in there. These will be so delicious. And you can coat these with anything like powdered sugar. I was deciding, do I want to coat them with brown sugar or regular sugar? And I haven't opened up my brown sugar yet. So I was like, we'll do regular sugar, but they'll be delicious. Cinnamon sugar, even more delicious. There we go. Give these a quick turn. I'm going to turn my heat up just a smidge. Oh, we'll give it there. Looking how I'm going to give them a rotate and see. There we go. You just want to make sure you get them all kind of golden all the way around. So I'm just flipping them, coating up another side. They are looking gorgeous. I love that kind of golden brown color they're getting. Okay, let's start getting our next one out. Now, a lot of times when I fry things, I would put them out on paper towels, but because I want to coat these in the sugar, I want that grease to stay on them because it will hold on that sugar. So I'm going to take out my first few that I know are done because they've got a darker golden color. And then I'm going to plop, before I grab a couple more, I'm going to pop this last one in. And we'll let that fry up. Get rid of our trash here. Let me turn these. Their bacon is cooking up great. Okay, while we're kind of finishing up, I'm going to turn this up a smidge more. We're going to add on our sausages here in just a second because I always cook up my sausages in my bacon grease. Okay, let's.
Do you have a question? Do you ever let your husband cook?
My husband, he has a couple meals that he has cooked for us in the past. He hasn't done them in a while, but he, when you're like a newbie chef and you're not comfortable in the kitchen, he has cooked me some great meals before, but it is very slow process. And I'm like a hard person when I see somebody doing something and I'm like, I can do it better. I like to just jump in there and be like, let me do this, and before. He keeps asking me, will you teach me how to cook? Will you teach me how to cook? But sometimes I'm not the best teacher of it because I'm like, well, you gotta do it like this. And let's just say I prefer to cook. He does the cleaning and I like it that way. That's why I say we're perfect because he'll clean up the kitchen afterwards and I'll make the food and I'll package away the food. But it's a good trade-off. You do what you do better at. And nobody likes cleaning, so he gets to enjoy my great food with the cost of cleaning. And it's been really nice because he's the one who has to scrub all of these things at their like little modified camp, little sink thing. So we're going to just cover these. I'm going to put a whole layer on the bottom so we can kind of roll them back and forth. Because you want to put extra on it because it will roll off. You want this sugar to really coat it. So they have this just lovely sweetness to it, but they're not overly sweet. You could vary this up. You could add lemon zest inside it. You could add cinnamon to it. Any spices that you can imagine could go inside these as well. So they're very versatile. It's just a base thing, but I feel like anything with sourdough discard is just like a win. It's so good. And then of course the sour cream just does great. There we go. Perfect. So these are cooking up great. They're going to be done in just a second. So I'm going to pop in the remaining of my sausages. So on our drive up to our next campsite, we're gonna have our eyes peeled out for a grocery store because we'll do our restock at the grocery store for it. But tonight we're gonna have steaks tonight when we get to our next campsite because I've got porterhouse steaks that I brought with us. So I think everybody will be very, very excited for that because they love steaks. Okay. I didn't realize how many sausages were still in this bag.
Are you going to be live for supper?
We will be live for supper, hopefully. It will just depend on if we run into crazy traffic or whatnot. It might be later. Who knows? But our goal is to cook up and be there. We're at a different campsite. We don't know if we'll have great Wi-Fi. Here we've had wonderful Wi-Fi. I'm hoping we'll have some great Wi-Fi there as well. So it will just, we'll play it by ear. You know, that's what camping is you got to play things by ear. Today, you know, we're going to visit, there's a lighthouse that we're going to go see in Michigan before we kind of make our big trek to Wisconsin. So, but we'll see. My goal is to hopefully stream tonight, especially because last year when I made steaks on our camping trip, we got them at this like tiny grocery store in the middle of South Dakota, and it was like a town of maybe like 500 people. But these were the best steaks and my kids even talk about it. They were like the best steaks they had ever had. And so I'm hoping I can recreate that magic. I think that store just had, I wonder if it was like a local butcher or something like that, but they were so good. So we'll see if my public steaks will make, you know, be as good. Okay, let me turn our sausages here, get our bacon. Oh, our bacon is getting this beautiful crisp up on it. It is just about done. And so is breakfast. We're on our like little final lunch here.
Any question? You ever had huckleberry ice cream?
I have had huckleberry ice cream. It's delicious.
Yeah, that Wall Drug.
Yeah, we did. Wall Drug. That's right. I did get a huckleberry ice cream at Wall Drug last year in South Dakota. We did, of course, the Wall Drug. They were all things that I had done when I was a kid. And I just was like, I've got to take my family to do it. That's kind of what started our like national parks camping trips, was we just wanted to recreate, both my husband and I did camping as kids, and we wanted to recreate that magic for our children. Get them disconnected from the, you know, technology and the, you know, the ease of the world nowadays, to making it a little bit more rough, although I don't think their meals are suffering any. We are going to be in like I think the big town like Hayward. It's in this area. It's a big thing. We're staying there, but we're going to be hiking. We're kind of camping there, but we're going to be hiking out to Ottawa National Forest and Nicollet and Chickamauga National Forest. So we're going to be doing that. Let me grab paper towels to put this bacon on. But I'm really excited. There's this, and it looks super cheesy, but I really want to go to it. It's the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame. It has a really giant fish out in front of it that you can go up into the mouth of. And I mean, I love fishing. I grew up fishing. So I think it'll be fun just to check it out. My son, Teddy, is so into fish and nature that I think he'll love it as well. So I'm like really looking forward to it. It looks super cheesy, but, and it was something that was definitely created in like the 50s or 60s, but I can't wait to go to that. Okay, we are going to put our bacon out. We've got this beautiful crisp on it. Here we go. And our sausages. And again, I just buy the frozen sausages that are already pre-cooked. Then you don't have to really worry about them, you know, like having raw sausage that you have to cook up all the way. But, and they cook up really easy in the bacon grease. I did not lose any today. Was it yesterday? I lost a couple to the ground. So we've got our sausages. Let me take out, I'll flip this guy over. Beautiful. Let's get this. And look at our next one. Let me cover it up with sugar, because once it comes out, you're going to really coat it. And then we look at this. We'll shake it up. Perfect. We've got one more. We've got this last one frying up right here. Look at this. He is my lone guy. You know what? I almost wonder, my biscuit fiasco yesterday, they did finally cook up. I ended up putting them here and they cooked up. They were actually so good. Even my oldest daughter, she's like, these are the best biscuits you've ever made. And I was like, it's because I had to cook them 3 different ways. I cooked them on the grate, I cooked them in the coals, then I cooked them on the skillet. So I said, it's, the best way to make those biscuits is 3 ways. You got to recreate that magic. Okay, we almost got this guy up, and then we can plate up. Look at this. He's going to be so delicious. But if you we did big because I think it's just easier to do big, but you could totally make these smaller. And I think we got, 5? We've got 9 out of here, which is perfect because everybody can have one. And then we'll have a free-for-all and see who fights it out for the last 2. But simple, easy, delicious. This reminds me when I was a kid, we made, it was old-fashioned donuts, but we made them with this school that I went to. It was kind of like, it was followed after like a Dewey model school, but we fried up. We had this big tub over a campfire and we made 150 real donuts plus all the donut holes, and it was so good. Okay, this guy is ready, so I'm going to turn off my oil so I don't use any more of my propane. This little propane tank, guys, lasts forever. I was a fresh one and I'm not even halfway full. Last year, I think we used 1.5 on our 10-day camping trip, or I think 8 or 10-day camping trip. So they last forever. You don't use as much. Okay, let's give this a good shake. And let's plate up our simple, easy breakfast today. So we've got our sausages and our bacon. And then look at our donuts, cooked all the way through. Got that beautiful crust on them, but absolutely delicious. So super simple breakfast, but gonna be delicious. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I try to do live cooking shows every single day, show you what we're making for our family, and hopefully teach you guys something along the way. Again, we will upload all of our videos to the link on our page. So if you ever want to recreate any of these recipes next time you go camping or at your own house, you can definitely find the name of our campfire donuts and cook them up at home from that link. We also have a link to our Amazon storefront. I created our camping list, so hopefully it's been approved and it's up there so you could check out all the camping gear that we got in there. And but again, thank you guys for joining us here today. Don't forget to like and subscribe.